fix the grammar. Let's fix it. Let's fix your grammar right now. Now, of course, when you're learning Danish, there are many potential mistakes that you can make. What we're going to do now is look at some of the most common mistakes, and as you can see, we already have the right answers over here. So the question is, what are you going to do, and why is something correct while the other thing is wrong? So what we're going to do now. So yeah, let's get to it. We really have the classics here. Everybody knows this one. So, kender du hvorfor han er sulten? No. Ved du hvorfor han er sulten? But why? Why is one wrong and the other one not? Well, kender du? That's not right, because kender would be being familiar. Right? Like you know a person or a movie or a joke or a song. Whereas ved is information. Right? And this is about knowing. Do you know why he is hungry? Ved du hvorfor han er sulten? It would not make any sense to say, kender du hvorfor han er sulten? Right? We don't say that. So that is ved and kender. But another example. De to ved godt hinanden. Right? That's not right. Of course, we would say, de to kender godt hinanden. Because it's a matter of being familiar. Jeg kender ham. Du kender ham godt, du kender ham ikke, and so on. You wouldn't say, jeg ved ham. That's strange and incorrect. Like ved and kender. Very important pair. Okay, so then we're looking at this one. Hvad tror du om denne film? Tror du om denne film? No. Hvad synes du om denne film? Why? Well, let's think about it. Tror is like think or believe, but it's about, having a belief in something, or a guess, where synes is the opinion, like a personal feeling. Hvad synes du om denne film? Hvad tror du om denne film? Doesn't really make sense. It's hard to imagine a context where somebody would say that, because synes is your own feeling, and tror is, what you think is the case. You will see with the next example. Jeg synes, han har købt en bil. No, jeg tror, han har købt en bil. Why is that? Well, if he bought a car, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And now you're not sure about it, so you're guessing. And so when you're guessing about reality, then it's tror. And jeg tror, han har købt en bil. That's correct. Jeg synes doesn't apply because it's nothing to do with your feelings, right? It's nothing to do with the preference. So yeah. Okay, the next one. Jeg vil gerne smage kagen. I almost can't say it, that's how bad it is. So we don't say jeg vil gerne smage kagen. We say jeg vil gerne smage kagen. What's the difference here? Smager is the present tense, and we don't want that. You cannot put the present tense after you have another verb here. Jeg vil. If you have another verb here, then the next verb, the second verb, cannot be present tense or past. It has to be infinitive. Jeg vil gerne smage. Right? Jeg vil gerne smage kagen. That is correct. Vil is present tense, so therefore smage has to be infinitive. Super. Moving on. Okay, so what is this? This is hun vente på os lige nu. Hun vente på os lige nu? No, you want to say hun venter på os lige nu. And of course, this is another case, but vente is the infinitive. And if you have here the personal pronoun, like it's a general action that's going on right now or very often, frequently, you have to use the present tense. I'm saying it like everybody knows. But yeah, this is very basic. So you should say hun venter, she's waiting. If something is happening now, right now, or ongoing in general, a common thing, you use this. Use the present tense. You cannot say hun vente or han vente. No, don't do that. Okay. Jeg vil at prøve noget nyt. not right, not right. Jeg vil prøve noget nyt. Okay, so what's the deal here? You cannot say jeg vil at. You don't have an at after vil. Also, you don't have it before or after må, like må at, or skal at. Now, people make this mistake because they're thinking, oh yeah, I want to, will, at. But that's, the wrong logic you're using. We don't do that in Danish. If you want to do something, it's jeg vil, and then the verb you want to do. Jeg vil prøve noget nyt. I want to try something new. Jeg vil prøve. This is a very, very common mistake. I see people making this almost weekly in my private lessons, saying vil at. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Jeg vil, no at. Super. I got this. Du har lyst til danse. Du har lyst til danse. Not correct. Du har lyst til at danse. Du har lyst til at danse is the correct one. Because we gotta have the at before the infinitive. Lyst til at danse. Har lyst til at danse. And yeah, of course, that doesn't count if you have something like will and må. Because I know some of you are going to be asking that now. But here, har lyst til, har lyst til, what do you feel like doing? At danse. You gotta have the at before the infinitive. Super duper. And somebody came home. Alright. Then we got, jeg vil ikke gerne synge. Jeg vil ikke gerne synge. No. Jeg vil ikke synge. Jeg vil ikke synge. This is a very common mistake as well. A lot of people say ikke gerne, like I don't want to. And that's because you start by learning jeg vil gerne, I want to or I would like to. And then, you mistakenly attach ikke because you don't want to do it. But you can't do that because ikke and gerne, they mean two different things. Ikke is not, so it's negation. And gerne is, gladly, happily, I would like to. Right? So you cannot put them next to each other. It doesn't fit. Right? You don't say ikke gerne. Just, jeg vil ikke synge. Jeg vil ikke synge. And then you're good. Similar point with the next one. Jeg kan ikke godt lide kød. No. Jeg kan ikke lide kød. Alright? Jeg kan ikke lide kød. Don't say godt, because godt, like gerne, is affirmative. It's positive. It means that it is happening. It is actually in place, in reality. It is going on. So, jeg kan ikke lide kød. Now, you might see and hear something like, jeg kan ikke så godt. Ikke så godt, not so much, but that's different. Like, jeg kan ikke så godt lide kød. Right? But the så changes that. Yeah, because like, not so much. But this is just a plain one. Jeg kan ikke godt lide kød. Don't say that. Jeg kan ikke lide kød. Jeg kan ikke lide kød. That's the right one. Super duper. Okay, næste, what we got? Another classic. Hun har meget venner. It hurts to say. Hun har meget venner. Of course, we don't say that. We say hun har mange venner. Why is that? Because meget is for something you cannot count, the non-countable, and mange is countable. And yes, you can count friends. Like en ven, if you can say en, then you can count it. It's like that. Mange venner. Ja. Han har ikke så mange tid. That's not right. Han har ikke så mange tid. Don't say that. You gotta say, han har ikke så meget tid. Okay? Han har ikke så meget tid. Why is that? Because tid in this context is not countable. Like, it's abstract. It's like a mass. Now there is something called en tid. Again, tider, that's like appointments and times, like time periods. But here we are talking about time as a resource. So therefore it's meget, not countable. Ikke så meget tid. Ikke så meget tid. Super. Der bor mere mennesker her. Der bor mere mennesker her. Again, it's wrong. You want to say, der bor flere mennesker her. Yes. Der bor flere mennesker her. Why? Well, menneske or mennesker in the plural. Humans, people. Of course, countable. Right? When it's countable, it's flere. Flere. Mere is for non-countable. This is definitely something I talked about before, but it's good to have a little bit of brushing up. Der bor flere mennesker her. Alright. Jeg har flere energi end i går. Jeg har flere energi end i går. No. Because you want to say, jeg har mere energi end i går. Energi is not countable. You don't say en energi, same as in English. In this case, like one energy, maybe in some sci-fi, but you don't say that. So, jeg har mere energi. Right? Mere energi. It could also be meget energi. Right? Not countable. It all comes together. Then we have hvilket land får flest sol? Hvilket land får flest sol? Nope. Hvilket land får mest sol? So again, sol, we kind of mean it as sunlight, like the rays of the sun, the amount of sun you're getting. And we are not counting the suns in this case, like stars. We're not doing that. We mean the mass. Hvilket land får mest sol? We don't count it. It's non-countable. Mest sol. Super. And so yeah, the same point. Min kone har mest sko. Min kone har mest sko. That's not correct, because mest, what's the problem? Mest is not countable. You want to say flest. Min kone har flest sko. Min kone har flest sko. She's the one with the most shoes. Flest sko. Yes, it's actually pretty easy when you think about it. Then what? Det gør vi en anden dag. Det gør vi en anden dag, or andet. Totally wrong. Don't do that. Det gør vi en anden dag. Ja? Det gør vi en anden dag. Why? Because it's en dag. Right? It's that kind of noun. En dag. So when the noun is en, then you want to say anden. Simple as that. En anden dag. Beautiful. De sidder ved et andet bord. De sidder ved et andet bord. We don't like that. Don't do that. De sidder ved et andet bord. Yes. De sidder ved et andet bord. That is of course the correct one. And you know the answer, right? Because it's et bord. Right? It's called agreement. It has to match. Et bord. So therefore et andet or andet bord. And I guess I can briefly talk about the pronunciation, because it is spelled andet, but most of the time in real life we say it like andet. Et andet bord. Yeah, like a softie basically. Super duper. I say that a lot today. Then we got han har nogle anden idéer. Han har nogen og nogle anden idéer. See, that's not correct. You want to say han har nogle andre idéer. Like, han har nogle andre idéer. Because this is the plural. Like, so it's andre. And it doesn't matter if it's en idé, ikke? Or et bord or et hus. Plural is always andre. Ikke? It's very important. Andre. Han har nogle andre idéer. And about nogen, yeah, most of the time in real life you're gonna hear it as nogen, but of course it's spelled nogle. And this is why people are having a hard time with something like nogen gange. I get the struggle. Danish people, well, we use it correctly, but many Danish people spell it wrong, and it's kind of embarrassing to be honest, but you know. Okay, moving on. Hun kom 3 dage siden. It's not right. Hun kom 3 dage siden. We don't like that. What you gotta do is, hun kom for 3 dage siden. Alright? Hun kom for 3 dage siden. Because when it's ago, like there's something active, like she arrived, she came 3 days ago, you gotta have the for. I see this mistake, more than once a week with learners. They think they don't need a for, but they do. You gotta put the for. Now, other cases when you don't need to put the for, yes, if it's just or var, like how long is it ago, or how long was it ago? Det 2 dage siden, det 3 dage siden, det var 5 år siden. Because there's no real action, it just is that time ago. But anytime that there's a real action, coming, doing, cooking, sleeping, whatever, you want to do this, you gotta put for. Super. Alright, moving on. We got de ankommer i 2 uger. De ankommer i 2 uger. We don't like this. You want to say, de ankommer om 3 uger. De ankommer om 3 uger. Why? Because when you are counting down, the time remaining, the time that is left, you gotta say om. De ankommer om 3 uger. This is the answer, right? You want to say I because your mind is in English. So you're like, oh, I 2 uger, in 2 weeks. But that is wrong. We don't do that. Counting down is om. Om 3 uger, om 1 minut, om 2 år. Doesn't matter how long. Alright, then we got. Vi snakkede om det for lang tid. Vi snakkede om det for lang tid. So this is also wrong. You want to say, vi snakkede om det i lang tid. Yes, and this is one of the most common mistakes for all learners. This is really, really common. It's I. Why? Because it's the duration of time, for how long time it was going on, or it is going on, or it will be going on. It doesn't matter what tense. The duration, how long something is lasting, is I. And this is really, really important. I hear for something with like dag, uge, år, måned, whatever. I hear it like all the time. So you wanna get rid of this one. You wanna fix it. Vi snakkede om det i lang tid. Right? That's how it is. Så har vi det sker 3 gange om uge. Det sker 3 gange om uge. So that's wrong. You want to say det sker 3 gange om ugen. Yes, det sker 3 gange om ugen. Why is that? Well, when something happens repeatedly, like in a cycle, 3 gange om ugen, like it's a week, a day, a month, a year, it doesn't matter. You want to say the definite form, ugen, dagen, ugen, måneden, året, and so on. I know it might seem weird, like why would you say the week or the day or the month, anything? Yeah, but it is what it is. So om ugen, om dagen, etc. Alright, så har vi det er første tid. Det er første tid, jeg ser ham. Okay, it's not right. Det er første gang, jeg ser ham. Første gang, jeg ser ham. What's the difference? Well, tid is sort of the abstract. That is the concept of time. How much time you have as a resource, or in physics, or the past, or something like that, or the future. But gang is the occurrence, like, oh yeah, første gang, anden gang, first time, second time, like that. Hvor mange gange, how many times. You can count it as another note. Remember that. Det er første gang, jeg ser ham. Gang, not tid. And then, jeg har ikke gang i dag. Jeg har ikke gang i dag. It's of course wrong. You want to say, jeg har ikke tid i dag. Jeg har ikke tid i dag. Because in this case, it's time as a resource. Like not first time, second time, or whatever, but time as something you have, or something you don't have. Jeg har ikke tid i dag. So that's what it is. Now, this was kind of fast today. I was rushing a little bit through this, but that's because I talked about many of these before in more detail. So I wanted to give you something very condensed, you know, a lot of information and a lot of examples in a short time. So that's what this was, right? The grammar really does matter. And these mistakes you can totally fix. You just gotta pay attention. And if you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself, what you can do is become a gold or diamond member at danishmastery.com. And you can read the PDF file. I took all these and then I said, okay, you know what, we got to get a breakdown. So something you can read when you're studying on your own or chilling or whatever, print out, do what you want to do. Right? A breakdown of all these sentences. Of course, there are many other bonuses. I have a lot of grammar breakdowns of various texts and mistakes and all these kinds of things on the website, alongside all the videos. So on YouTube, you do get a lot of videos on YouTube, but you don't get all of them. There's also like a lot of videos that are only on the website. I do believe it's about 550 videos now. So that is quite the collection, I would say. Right. But that was it for today. A kind of short video relative to what you normally see here on Danish Mastery. Let's see, is there anything else? No, I think we covered it all. Well, alright guys, thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and let me just take a second to thank everybody who supports Danish Mastery by buying the videos. You know, it means a lot, and when you do that, it makes it easier for me to put more time aside for these videos, and it also helps everybody else who's watching. So seriously, a big thanks, because it makes a big difference, and I can go more in deep with all these things, yeah, and get into new things. So yeah, that's about it. Alright, thank you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.